Before dawn breaks in St. Cabrini, the streets outside the downtown precinct are completely gridlocked. Activists have formed a human chain, standing shoulder to shoulder against the police line to block the exit. St. Cabrini is a major urban center, with a city population of 3.3 million and a metropolitan region pushing 5 million. The economic and logistical footprint here is massive, magnifying the consequences of any local disruption. Hours earlier, a veteran local police officer conducted a routine traffic stop. That stop resulted in the arrest of an undocumented individual on a minor municipal charge. Following St. Cabrini's sanctuary ordinance, a local law directing city employees not to assist federal immigration enforcement, the officer processed the arrest but explicitly refused to notify ICE or honor an administrative detainer. By 6 a.m, the arrest record leaks. Anti-ICE protesters swarm the precinct, followed closely by counter-protesters demanding the rule of law. Meanwhile, 2 blocks away, federal ICE agents sit parked in unmarked vehicles, waiting to initiate a sidewalk arrest the moment the suspect is released. The standoff escalating on the pavement is the direct, physical result of 2 layers of government legally colliding. This is the starting scenario for Sanctuary Under Strain, an AI-moderated simulation designed to test how leaders manage a crisis when their authority is highly fragmented. While cameras point at the protest outside, a separate crisis is unfolding inside City Hall. There is a signed resignation letter sitting on the mayor's desk from the chief of police. The chief refuses to command a police force that is legally prohibited from coordinating with its federal law enforcement partners, citing safety concerns for the officers on the street. At the exact same time, the city manager is tracking a live press briefing from the Department of Justice. The federal government is signaling the immediate seizure of over $20 million in public safety grants tied to the city's sanctuary status. Months ago, the mayor won an election on a popular platform of social equity and immigrant protection. Now, facing an administrative collapse and a massive budget hole, that political capital is disappearing rapidly. A single objective solution does not exist. The city is facing a wicked problem, a scenario where multiple actors possess legally valid but mutually exclusive authorities, making unilateral action impossible. This map shows the geographic layout of St. Cabrini, the physical terrain where competing mandates play out. Down in the Civic Center, local leadership operates under specific directives: maintain the municipal budget, secure federal DOJ grants, and uphold local ordinances designed to protect vulnerable populations. But over at the international airport and the cargo port, federal agents operate under an entirely different mandate. Their directive is strictly to enforce federal immigration statutes and execute repatriation operations. Neither the local government nor the federal agents are acting illegally. Both factions are executing their duties strictly within the boundaries of their respective but completely opposing institutional rules. When you map out these jurisdictions, it becomes clear that leadership cannot rely on absolute command. Resolving the crisis requires managing these overlapping geographical and legal constraints. If the police chief actually resigns, the formal chain of command between City Hall and the officers on the street is instantly severed. That vacuum introduces a secondary threat known as the blue flu. This is a mass, coordinated sick-out by patrol officers who refuse to work under conditions where they face conflicting legal orders and compromised physical safety. The mayor cannot simply tear up the resignation letter to fix the problem, nor can City Hall violate its own local sanctuary ordinance just to appease the police union. The immediate required response is to initiate emergency negotiations within the city government to establish a temporary command structure, all while strictly adhering to local laws. Without a functioning chain of command, the police cannot manage the crowds outside the precinct. The localized standoff will rapidly expand into a total collapse of municipal order. At the street level, simulation players face a binary choice to de-escalate the precinct standoff, and both options carry severe penalties. The first strategy is to clear the streets using police force. This restores physical public order, but it permanently alienates the activist political base that elected the mayor. The second strategy is to let the standoff continue. This protects the city's commitment to social equity, but completely alienates moderate voters and further fractures the relationship with the local police force. Players must navigate this using strict institutional discipline. You can only issue statements, request coordination from other agencies, or adjust your own operational priorities. If the mayor attempts to forcefully order federal agents to leave the city, an action outside local jurisdiction, the AI moderator will trigger an immediate, unrecoverable escalation of the crisis. The crisis in St. Cabrini originates in the U.S. government's foundational structure, divided across vertical layers: federal, state, and local. The 10th Amendment's anti-commandeering doctrine dictates that the federal government cannot force local officials to act as federal agents. Conversely, local officers face severe Fourth Amendment risks. If they hold an individual in a jail cell solely based on an administrative request from ICE without a signed judicial warrant, it constitutes an unreasonable seizure under the Constitution. This creates a phenomenon known as policy feedback. Policy feedback occurs when a popular legislative platform, like declaring a sanctuary city, generates severe, unexpected fiscal, legal, and social costs once implemented. When a local government extends its limited sovereignty to protect specific populations, it inevitably grinds against the massive weight of federal authority. The resulting friction is unavoidable. At the end of the simulation rounds, the AI moderator evaluates players based on specific administrative criteria, rather than a traditional win state. Achieving total ideological victory for any single faction is impossible. The structural constraints simply do not allow it. Instead, success is measured by a player's ability to comprehend exact institutional limits, apply rigorous policy analysis, and accurately predict social consequences. The ultimate objective for every actor is simple institutional survival. True administrative leadership is not about wielding absolute control. It is the ability to navigate a system of heavily fragmented authority, making strategic compromises when a clear legal or political consensus does not exist.